A growing outbreak here in the South Plains area resulted in a tragic announcement yesterday morning. Coming up, we'll have the latest details on the spread of measles and its effects here in our area.
A series of events gave some students some options for their midweek schedules, both here on campus and beyond. Find out how Red Raiders could learn how to improve their quality of life and take a step towards their future careers.
The measles outbreak is getting national attention by people around the country, including one of the nation's top health officials. And President Trump pulled the top members of his administration together for the first time, with one attendee standing out in the crowd. Kiley Phillips has the latest on those stories and more in today's edition of MCTV's Inside the Issues.
And Texas Tech men's basketball was the focus of the Red Raider sports community at the beginning of this week, but some other teams are hoping to steal the spotlight heading into another busy weekend of competition. MCTV's Jade Hernandez has a wrap-up of the latest stories and a preview of what's ahead in sports.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Chbeir.
And I'm Maresa Sisk. A measles outbreak here on the South Plains had resulted in the first reported death related to the disease in 10 years.
The death is just the latest headline in this continuing story that is making news across the country. Yesterday morning, Lubbock health officials announced that a school-aged child died overnight on Tuesday after being hospitalized with measles. The child's death was the first time a person infected with measles had died in the United States since 2015. The child was one of 124 cases that were officially reported by the Texas Department of State Health Services on Tuesday. The number of cases has continued to increase as the outbreak spreads throughout the South Plains and Panhandle area. In response to the worsening situation, Covenant Health and the Lubbock Public Health Department held a press conference at Covenant's Hope Tower yesterday afternoon. Dr. Amy Thompson, the CEO of Covenant's Women's and Children's Hospital, and Dr. Laura Johnson, Covenant's Chief Medical Officer, both addressed the media. Johnson says that the current outbreak is not something she expected to encounter when she became a doctor.
I graduated from medical school in 2002. And when I graduated from medical school, I was confident I would never see a measles outbreak unless I chose to work internationally. Because at that time, we were confident that we eradicated measles from the United States and had really gotten to a point where we just didn't see these kinds of outbreaks happening. Obviously, that has changed over the last 20-something years. And so we do see outbreaks more frequently, but that is related to how much we're vaccinating our population.
During yesterday's conference, both Thompson and Johnson stressed the role the lack of vaccines have played in this current outbreak, and both stated that people that have vaccines should not be worried about the current situation in our area. The extent of the outbreak has continued to grow since the Department of State Health Services began recording the number of measles cases in January. Currently, the largest number of cases reported have been from Gaines County, where the first cases were discovered. But there are now 44 cases that have been discovered in residents from an additional 8 counties. Most of those counties are here on the South Plains, but there were new cases included in the DSHS report from Dallam County in the Texas Panhandle and Ector and Martin County in the Permian Basin. In response to the outbreak, vaccine clinics are being held across the area. Here in Lubbock, the city's public health department is offering the MMR vaccine for free to all residents. Vaccine clinics have been ongoing throughout the week and continue with 2 more on Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m. You do not need to make an appointment to get the vaccine, but if you have any questions or concerns, you can call Lubbock Public Health at 806-775-2933.
Although physical health has been the main concern for most people since the announcement of the measles outbreak, one campus group wants to remind you that there are other concerns to keep in mind as a college student. Feed Your Body and Soul Week is currently underway here on campus. The week-long set of events is organized by the Office of Risk Intervention and Safety Education. On Wednesday, RISE brought together other groups from around the university for the annual Dimensions of Wellness Resource Fair. The fair ran from noon to 2 p.m. in the sub-courtyard, giving students a chance to learn about all the resources available to help keep their body and soul in check.
They can expect to get information about on-campus and off-campus resources to promote their mental health and mental wellness, and then get some freebies. I know the rec center is passing out dry shampoo. There's another booth passing out Poppy soda cans, some giveaways going on, so they can come and get a little bit of swag and some information.
Wednesday's fair featured representatives from university groups such as the Student Counseling Center, Raider Relief, and Student Mental Health Community. Rise was also on hand to talk about all they have to offer and invite students to other events happening this week. Feed Your Body and Soul Week wraps up tomorrow with a slam poetry night at J&B Coffee. The Poetry Slam is scheduled to start at 6 p.m. and it's open to all students. For more information on Friday's event and to keep up with future activities, visit rise.ttu.edu and click on the Upcoming Events tab.
Tomorrow is the last day of February. Spring break is only 2 weeks away, and the end of the semester is not far after that. If that gives you anxiety about your future, you're not alone. But luckily, one college recently offered students an event to help put their minds at ease. The Rawls College of Business held their spring career fair yesterday at the Lubbock Memorial Civic Center. The fair started at 10 a.m. and featured representatives from hundreds of businesses who were available to meet with students. Attendees could learn about potential internships, part and full-time job opportunities, or just learn about options for their future careers. Yesterday's career fair was exclusively open to business students until 1 p.m., but after that, any Red Raider could stop by and visit the fair until it was finished at 3 p.m. And according to Chelsea Bauckham with Rawls Career Management Center, even students new to college should take advantage of opportunities like yesterday's fair.
Attending a career fair can be very overwhelming, especially as a freshman or a sophomore, but we like to say go ahead and come. That way, whenever you are coming your junior or senior year looking for an internship or full-time job, you don't feel like a deer in the headlights when you walk in and you feel super overwhelmed.
The Rawls College of Business Career Fair is held during the fall and spring semesters. But if you didn't make it out to the Civic Center yesterday, it's not the only option for students to connect with a future employer. For more information on all of the job recruiting and resume building events hosted by the Rawls College, visit rawlsbusiness.ttu.edu and click on Events under the About tab.
Another week of headlines from Washington, D.C. continues to keep the political world spinning as the Trump administration nears the midpoint of the president's first 100 days in office.
Kiley Phillips joins us in the studio with an update on the latest stories you need to know about in today's edition of MCTV's Inside the Issues. Kiley?
Thanks, Aaron and Maresa. President Trump held his first cabinet meeting of the new administration yesterday. Despite not having a seat at the main cabinet table, Elon Musk dominated the conversation and the headlines regarding the first meeting. The president spoke for the majority of the meeting, but reports are showing that Musk spoke 3 times as long as anyone, including the vice president and the Senate-confirmed members. Musk has publicly acknowledged several errors he stated in his position with Doge. During the meeting, he acknowledged yet another mistake.
We will make mistakes. We won't be perfect, but when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola, Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption.
The heavy focus of much of the cabinet meeting was Doge and the cuts that are being made to various government departments. However, the president also confirmed that Ukrainian President Zelensky is set to visit the White House on Friday to discuss a mineral deal between the two countries. The other headline coming out of the meeting is that Trump is planning to unveil the 25% tariff to the European Union in the near future. He also stated that despite the pause on tariffs on Canada and Mexico, he plans to reinstate some, but not all of them, on April 2nd. President Trump unveiled his new immigration plan to sell what he's calling gold card visas to those seeking citizenship in the United States. The card will function similar to a visa, according to the president. However, it's going to cost $5 million. He says that people who can pay $5 million are going to create jobs, and that this gold card is what he's calling a bargain and a path to full citizenship. Now, while this plan may raise some skepticism, it is not a foreign concept. Almost 40 other countries around the world offer citizenship investment programs, such as Italy, where the cost ranges from about $261.5 thousand to just over $2 million, depending on the risk of the investment. However, the price makes the United States the most expensive in that category, according to experts. The president said that he wants to get productive people into the country and that companies can use the Golden Visa program to hire non-citizens to work for them in the U.S. The president expressed that he hopes that the expensive visas would help pay off the U.S. debt. Since this is just the beginning of the discussion about the gold cards, many have been skeptical of the potential for the program to be a threat to national security. However, the administration has stressed that there would be vetting procedures in place. There are no further details as to the future of this program or when it would be set to begin. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. spoke on Wednesday about the measles outbreak here in West Texas. Downplaying the severity of the disease, Kennedy described the outbreak as not unusual, claiming that the United States has outbreaks every year. However, this is the first time since 2015 that someone has died of the measles in the United States. Kennedy has previously spent time as an anti-vaccine activist for Children's Health Defense. The group released the Measles book in 2021 that included a foreword written by Kennedy where he says he believes the American public has been misled by the pharmaceutical industry and government agencies into thinking measles is a deadly disease. He also added in this book that measles outbreaks have been fabricated to create fear. During the briefing, Kennedy also said that those admitted to the hospital here in Lubbock were there for quarantine purposes. In a press conference yesterday, Dr. Laura Johnson, who is a pediatrician and the chief medical officer at Covenant Children's Hospital, said that they do not hospitalize patients for quarantine purposes, and that patients are admitted when they are having trouble breathing or need supportive care such as supplemental oxygen. Currently, Covenant Children's Hospital is treating 20 kids with several needing intensive care. This was a look inside of this week's issues. Stay tuned for Monday when we dive deeper into the importance of the measles vaccine in stopping this outbreak. I'll see you next Thursday. Back to you, Aaron and Maresa.
Thanks, Kylie. It's beginning to feel a lot like spring across the Lubbock area. Warm temperatures and plenty of sunshine have been a welcome relief after last week's polar plunge.
Conditions have been very nice again this afternoon, but there is the potential of a few changes coming up this weekend. Chief Weather Specialist Elisabeth Herring joins us now in the studio with a look at what you can expect in today's MCTV forecast. Elizabeth?
Yeah, well, a gorgeous afternoon here at Texas Tech University. Taking a look at our tower cam, beautiful, clear, sunny skies, and you would think it's spring. However, we do still have 20 days until spring. The official first day of spring is March 20th, so we're still a ways out, but we will take this nice weather while we can. And this warm weather has been trending the last few days. Yesterday, we had a high of 70 degrees, a low of 41, so about 10 degrees from our normal of 62 and low of 33. And as well as warmer weather, we've also seen drier weather in the South Plains, continuing to add to those drought conditions increasing over the South Plains area, especially in those northeast areas, also in some of the southern parts of the South Plains. Here in Lubbock, we are abnormally dry, but we might see some rain this Sunday, possibly in the early morning hours, so remaining clear for the rest of today, Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday around 8 a.m. is when we're going to start to see the first showers move into the Lubbock area, continuing on into the early morning and throughout the early afternoon as well, and then those should move out as we head into the rest of the evening and clear out by Monday morning. Well, low tonight locally in Lubbock of 37, tomorrow warming up even warmer than today with a high of 76 and beautiful sunny skies. Well, like I said, tomorrow 76 as well as Saturday. So if you want to get outside, these are going to be the days to do it. It's going to be a gorgeous beginning of our weekend. Sunday, we do have that chance of showers in the early morning hours. However, by the afternoon, those should clear out, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty nice day, high around 69, 70 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Continuing with warm weather on Monday as well. Monday, a high of 80 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Tuesday morning, we do have a cool front moving in the area, so it's going to drop temperatures just a little bit, high of 58. Wednesday, high of 64. Thursday, back in the 70s with a high of 71. And that cool front isn't going to put us under freezing right now. The coldest we're seeing is 34 degrees. However, that is subject to change as we move closer to next Tuesday. And it's keeping our high temperatures relatively mild. So it is going to cool off just a little bit, but nothing super crazy like what we saw last week with lows in the teens and the 20s. I'm Elizabeth, and it's back to y'all.
Thanks, Elizabeth. The mild weather this week created some near-perfect conditions for outdoor sports, but most Texas Tech fans' focus was on a big showdown inside the USA at the beginning of the week.
MCTV's Jade Hernandez is here with a look back at highlights from a top 10 basketball matchup, along with a wrap-up of the rest of the top stories making news for Texas Tech athletics and sports. Jade?
Thank you, Aaron and Maresa. It was a tough night for the Texas Tech Red Raiders as they fell to number 4 Houston in a hard-fought battle at the United Supermarkets Arena. Despite missing 2 key starters, Tech kept it close until the final minute, but ultimately couldn't overcome the Cougars, falling 69-61. The loss evens the season series after the Red Raiders took a thrilling overtime win earlier this month. JT Toppin led the way with a double-double, tallying 14 points and 10 rebounds, while Elijah Hawkins contributed 14 points and 5 assists. However, Houston's Milos Uzan proved to be the difference maker, knocking down a clutch three-pointer and free throws in the closing seconds to secure the win. The Red Raiders will look to bounce back as they hit the road to face Kansas this Saturday in Lawrence. Tip-off is set for 1 p.m. on ESPN. Sticking with men's basketball, sophomore JT Toppin continues to make waves, earning his 3rd Big 12 Newcomer of the Week honor this season. Toppin averaged 18 points and 9.5 rebounds across 2 games last week, including a dominant 22 performance against West Virginia. With 5 straight double-figure games and one of the top shooting percentages in the conference, he remains a key force for the Red Raiders as they push toward postseason play. Over to women's basketball, the Lady Raiders put up a strong fight against Arizona but fell short in Tucson, 66-57. Logan Johnson led the way with 14 points, while Jasmine Shavers and Bailey Maupin each added 13. The Lady Raiders kept it close in the first half, but a big third-quarter run from the Wildcats proved too much to overcome. With 1 regular season game left, Texas Tech will look to finish strong back at home against Colorado this Saturday. Come out and cheer on the Lady Raiders in person, or you can watch the game on ESPN+. It was a tough day on the diamond for Texas Tech as both softball and baseball suffered heartbreaking losses in the final innings. Let's start with Red Raiders softball. Texas Tech looked to be in control early against North Texas, jumping out to a 4-0 lead in the 2nd inning. Maya Davis sparked the offense with a fielder's choice RBI, then came around to score after an error and a wild pitch. Haley Toney added some power with a solo shot to left center, giving Tech a comfortable lead. On the mound, Nigeri Kennedy was lights out, throwing 4 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts. Chloe Riaceto followed with 2 scoreless frames of her own. Tech added another run in the 6th, but it all unraveled in the 7th. North Texas loaded the bases, and with 1 swing of the bat, a grand slam sealed the Mean Green's comeback, walking off the Red Raiders 6-5. Next up, Tech heads to College Station for the Texas A&M Invitational this weekend to play 5 games over the next 3 days. For the full schedule, visit texastech.com. Over at Dunlop Field, Texas Tech baseball was in a slugfest with UC Irvine to finish out the series on Sunday. Logan Hughes and Dylan Maxey wasted no time going back-to-back in the first to give Tech a 3-0 lead. Hughes crushed his for 411 feet at 106 miles per hour off the bat, but UC Irvine had an answer, using the long ball to take a lead of their own. The Anteaters jumped ahead 8-4 in the 4th, but TJ Pompey kept Tech alive with a 2-run shot down the right field line, his 4th of the season. Hughes came up big again in the 6th, roping a bases-clearing double to put Tech back on top 9-8. But in the 7th, UC Irvine reclaimed the lead with a 2-out, 2-run single. The Red Raiders had their chances late, but a game-ending double play sealed an 11-10 loss and ended opening weekend with the Red Raiders dropping the series to UC Irvine. Tech will look to bounce back in Las Vegas this weekend as they take on Illinois, Texas, and Washington in the Las Vegas College Baseball Classic. Tech will play 1 game a day, finishing out with the Huskies on Sunday. And speaking of Red Raiders standout, sophomores TJ Pompey and Logan Hughes were named to the D1 Baseball's Top 100 Hitters of the Week. Pompey went 6 for 13 with 2 homers and 6 RBIs, while Hughes put up 9 RBIs in 2 games against UC Irvine. Finally, Texas Tech is gearing up to host the 2025 Big 12 Indoor Track and Field Championships right here in Lubbock. The action takes over the Sports Performance Center this Friday and Saturday. If you're in town, you can head over and cheer on some Red Raider athletes to a conference victory. That's a look at the Red Raider sports. Stay tuned for more coverage throughout the week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jade. So, Maresa, are you planning to head out and cheer on any of the Red Raider teams this weekend on campus?
I'm not going to go out this weekend, but I will be back for Colorado next week, and I am going to watch it on ESPN.
Very exciting. Well, all right, that'll be all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you next week.